W series, and there are no teams in it. There's like one. It's a championship. So this way, it's very clear. We got the best team in the world, brand new cars. I think they're still deciding on a tire manufacturer. If they preferably want to do an Indian tire manufacturer, but they need that size, that correct size. Otherwise, they have to get it from abroad, and it's very expensive. So yeah, best team, latest cars, and they want to make it very even and very transparent. Because normally when people come from elsewhere, very easy to be like, oh, it's an Indian thing. My car is this, my car is that, it's faster. All that nonsense will start.
Okay, so that was a good opening. Let's start this. We're live. Welcome everyone to Couch Pundits Sports F1 weekend stream. And as usual, I'm joined by Siddhartha and Akhil. We were just talking about Formula Regional, where there's going to be F3 cars and there's going to be IRL racing. But we will get to talking about that soon enough. We're here to discuss Formula One first, and let's start by talking about the last race. That was the Lando Norris heartbreak. How bad did you guys feel? Sid, I'll start with you.
I mean, like, can't describe it in words, like, because he had such a great race, and and in the end, everything. I mean, from a viewpoint of a driver, like, with a car like McLaren, and they're giving a tough competition to Mercedes and other drivers, and he's been on top of his game. So it must have been. I don't know, like, Lando Neri needs to have a thick skin, because it's like really very disappointing. I think this is where a teammate like Daniel Ricciardo comes in, because even Daniel has faced close to the same situation in Red Bull. So when you have a teammate who's been through the same, so he can always mentor you.
Yeah,
he can always, like, like a friend carry chal ho jata hai, theek hai.
Comforting words he'll have for
comforting
Lando.
words. Yeah.
Akhil, what did you think?
I think it was, like in his own interview, he said, I did 99% right. He got one call wrong and it went the other way around. It's also, everyone thinks Hamilton made the right call and he trusted his luck, faith in his team and all, but that's not true, because I think a lap before Verstappen pitted and that was his biggest competition. So he knew that he has a free pit stop in his hand and the risk was less, right? It's like if Verstappen didn't pit, then I think Hamilton's reaction would have been different. So he knew Verstappen pitted. His team said, come in, there's rain. Hamilton, okay, he's just covering for Verstappen. Worst case, he finishes second, which is already in. Best case, he overtakes Lando if the rain comes. So it was a easier decision. I think Lando had more to lose, right? Because he was leading a race and he's done everything right. And I mean, you have 3 laps to go, and you when you come around, it looks dry, and suddenly, I think when the final lap which he did, the last corner was wet itself, and he was already swarming out, and the Haas was there, and luckily got the run down to turn one. But yeah, I mean, it's a small but costly mistake. But I mean, end of the day, I think everyone has made these mistakes. You think Hamilton crashing in the pit lane, it's, what do you say to all those things? So it's an easier mistake to get wrong, and put it that way.
I agree, man. It was quite annoying also from a viewer's perspective, because when this whole thing was happening on the last 3 laps, Hotstar feed cut off.
Oh.
And it's happened. I thought it was just me, but over the last few weeks, I've been talking to some of my friends, and they're like, yeah, it happened exactly at the same time. So it was quite annoying in that front, but I can only imagine how bad Lando must have felt in that moment, because he was also told, okay, it's going to rain and you need to pit, and he's like, no, I'm going to carry on.
Yeah.
So how important is the driver's call in that, or is he supposed to listen to the team? Is this maybe would you chalk it down to some inexperience?
See, it's also end of the day. Mercedes that way are a well-established team. The relationship is built. It's also, you have to have trust and with your team, because yes, the driver's driving, he's going on the track, and nobody in the team doesn't know all the corners and how wet it is. But the team definitely have more data, and they have various things saying that things are going to happen, and you take the trust, right? So I think somewhere, in protocol, there has to be a final decision maker where someone has to come hard down. And end of the day, sometimes the team also can get it wrong. So I think even when we were watching, it looked like it was going to be dry. Like 2 laps more, he can go through it. But I think the anticipation of the intensity of the rain was different. I think somewhere it was a disconnect saying it would drizzle or it would be enough to get through it, but it just poured. So then it changed the whole thing. So yeah, I think going back, I think there needs to be some protocol saying I think you can if the team definitely sees something which Lando can't, then they have to put their foot down. I think what Lando was just going through his gut feel, which I think sometimes can be wrong. But yeah, I mean, if I was if I was in the same position and I could see the track is dry and they're saying come in for inters, then it's a different thing. It's also, I mean, you're leading the race, you've done everything right. There's 3 laps to go, so it's not an easy decision, right? It's you just want to get done with, and say I the last 3 laps were the toughest and win the race, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, like what Dhaval was saying about experience. Yesterday, what happened during the qualifiers was Q2 may start raining a little.
Yeah.
So there was a part of the track where it was a little dry, and some part of the track was a little wet. So Hamilton was asked to come in and to change to inters on soft. And Hamilton took a call that I would do one more run with the soft tires, and he got in. Yeah, the banker lap, and he got in the speed also. So I think that talks a lot about the driver's experience also. It comes into play. Like Hamilton, like he's a 7-time world champion. So these calls that are taken, and these little mistakes, I think, because there's so much room for error. Like also the Ricardo's botched up pit stop that happened in the last race. Like, oh my god, yeah, like without Ricardo's.
So that can't go 5 minutes without talking about Daniel Ricciardo.
But yeah, it was botched up. I'm just giving an example. Like
there have been many pit stops which have been botched up actually in the last few races.
Yeah. So because of the new regulations and everything.
Yeah.
So I think in a sports like this where there's so much room for error, I think experience comes into play.
Yeah. Another one of the talking points from the last race was, as usual, Valtteri Bottas and him being given yet another engine when he clearly, I wouldn't say clearly, but probably didn't need one in that race. Allegedly, the purpose for giving him that engine and making him take that grid penalty was twofold. One, that he would now, going forward, have 2 engines available to him, or power units, or whatever you want to call it. For the rest of the season, which is 7 or 8 races to go. They're going at the rate of 4-5 races per engine. So I guess it makes sense. But the more read between the lines kind of reason, which they were not too subtle about, was that Verstappen was starting at the back. So they just wanted Bottas there at the back with him to block. Akhil, what did you think of the strategy? And do you think that Bottas needs to sue Mercedes for discrimination and mistreatment and all of that?
I was under the same impression until yesterday, because yesterday I was listening to some of the interviews from Toto Wolff. So there's a reason why Hamilton has changed his internal combustion engine. So they, according to his interviews at least, they have found some problem which could become a potential reliability problem and cause Hamilton to have a DNF. The same thing was first spotted in Bottas's car, and hence they found they had to put a new engine. This is their reasoning. So their biggest concern is either of them have a DNF. It is very expensive, so it's easier for them to take the penalty and have a good backup. So this is the new reason which has come out, and hence I think they saw that data, and as soon as they figured it out, they put a new internal combustion engine on.
What's the difference between an internal combustion engine and a power unit?
Yeah, so basically, that's why if you look at it, all the guys who have changed the power unit have to go to the back of the grid. Hamilton has only changed the IC, the internal combustion engine. He's not changed the battery and the power and all the other cars and all the other things around it, which makes it the whole power unit, the hybrid system. So he's only changed the good old pistons and just the IC unit. So that's why it's only 10 place grid penalty. So he's still using the old stuff of the other parts of the engine from his previous engines.
Like MGUK and MGUH is the same, and
correct, yeah.
That remains the same.
Recharge
like what Dhaval spoke. ये भी हो सकता है कि full Bottas को ऐसे they are giving this duty, night watchman duty they are giving to Bottas.
100%.
Like but again when you consider the statement that Mercedes has given and considering the championship battle that they are having now, it's a very slim chance because even Perez has been doing really well in qualifiers. Yeah. So like even one DNF would cost them a championship. Yeah. So even that can be the reason, and that can be like a very nice coincidence also. So you never know.
Yeah. I think my only thing towards the end of the last few races, if either one are battling or either one have in the middle of the pack, it is the person who has the most friends on the grid. Because if Lewis is coming is to overtake two cars to win the championship in one of those situations, it's like, how good is the relationship with those guys in those two cars, or the other way around with Max in it? So I feel like, because you can lose it by 1 point and that's one overtake ahead. It's one of those weird situations. I feel like get your alliances strong now.
Yeah, like I remember seeing one video where Michael Schumacher made way for Seb Vettel.
Yeah.
And that's like he clearly went aside. So I think Max has more of Alonso likes Max. Alonso likes Max.
Daniel Ricciardo likes Lando.
Hamilton
likes Lando.
बट अपन मैक्स की बात हैमिल्टन और मैक्स की बात कर रहे हैं कि अगर कुछ रहेगा, अलोंसो का समर्थन है, ठीक है, लैनिस्टर का समर्थन मिल गया उसको, ठीक है, प्लस रिकार्डो उसका टीममेट ही था, ठीक है, टॉप ऑफ द ग्रिड में. फिर बात आती है लेक्लेयर और साइंस. These two people, if these two people come into play, so you never know.
To some extent,
yeah. So you never know, like, if it comes down to that, like, literally comes down to last two races.
But Leclerc doesn't like Max. I mean, not doesn't like. It's
it's a childhood rivalry.
This is like Silverstone, Austria of 2019, right? 2020, yeah. Oh, they were pushing.
And there was one video when they were kids.
Yeah.
Where Max is like, Max is fucking angry, and Leclerc is being all cool, and it's like, it was just a racing incident.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that this is Max's last clear chance of having only one contender for the Drivers' Championship, given that next year everyone's going to have probably similar cars, and then you're going to see people like Russell, Lando, even Leclerc being unleashed a little more, and it will be more than just a two-way fight for the title.
I think that's a double-edged sword, and you have more people, it can sometimes be easier also. But I think this is probably a good chance for Leclerc, for Max to win. But saying that, I think some gut feeling is there that Lewis is going to get to the 8th. In some historical
who is not feeling that right now?
It needs to be a tick box. You come so far, get your 8th, call it a day, do it what you want, let Russell come in, I don't know. I have a hunch that Lando at some point might replace Hamilton. So Lando has to, and he's Mercedes engine at the end of the day, right? So he can't, you'll not screw around too much. So I feel that way.
Because like what rightly Akhil also said, that but this race is where everything changes. A 10th place grid penalty, this guy starting second, and you never know what Max can do if he starts off well, if he leads the race from the start. So this track is such that if you lead the race from the start, you're done. Like you're probably at a comfortable position. So if that happens, and about next year, I think it is going to it is going to get very interesting, because looking at the way even Alonso has been gearing up, like last few races, he's been really in his game. The number of points, the qualifiers, and even because you never know which team may come up with a better car. And one thing that, like, the flashes of brilliance that has been seen in Mick Schumacher, like that car, that Haas car, it is nothing short of Maruti Suzuki Brezza of Formula One. Okay, Maruti Suzuki Brezza is just swift uplift. So it is like the way he drove, like 14th position. Like I think the Haas engineers were not ready only. They must have gone, like they were having tea, they were having chai sutta. They're like, "Arey yaar, aur karne kam?" Steiner is like, "Arey, P2 mein gaya, wow tum log." So you never know. It's a great setup for next year. I think the 2022 season and 2023 season, will be very challenging, because it is everyone's season, I think.
Yeah. But if you go via history, it's the guys with the most money who put into development. If you put into that theory, guys with more money will spend money on more development. More development means it's a better car. Hence the dominance of Red Bull previous generation. Hence the dominance of Mercedes, because they just have so much money to deploy, and that they have so much research and development going on. So saying that, I won't be surprised. Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren in the top 4 or top 5 of this year will be the same top 4 or top 5 next year, but maybe the order might be a bit jumbled.
I guess. But Sid, you were just talking about Fernando Alonso. Have you been following this whole thing that he has to say about track limits and all, and what his views are on this whole thing? कि लोग सब एडवांटेज ले रहे हैं और मेरे को सब उल्लू बना everybody has different standards for when they get fined for exceeding track limits. What do you think? Last race he used it to his advantage, and but he ended up finishing the lap at the same spot that he started. So
he gave away 2 positions, right? Because
he gained 2 positions and then he gave them away.
He gave it away.
So
So I mean, he practiced that thing off the corner and when he on his outlap to the grid. So he had it on his mind. He got his angles correct. He made it like a flat out corner and he nailed it. He got 2 positions. He gave it back. So he's not broken any rule, but that's ethically everyone knows it's borderline grey. So I mean, so he gave his position back.
Can you just explain that a little more technically?
Yeah, so the second and third corner of Sochi, the first corner is a flat out right. The second, it's a chicane, the right and left. So if you miss the chicane, you can't just go off the track by a meter or 2 and join back, because one, it is you get an advantage. 2, you're being causing safety problems. So, and also if you brake too late, there's a designated part to go. So you basically, if you brake too late, you go straight. There's another chicane made, and there's a very tight chicane made because unfortunately the wall of the circuit is there, and then there's literally a Formula 1 car's width to go through. So if you remember the year prior, Carlos Sainz didn't anticipate that wall and hit that wall, because it was just so narrow. So this year at least they pushed it back, but it still looked very narrow. So Alonso was smart enough. When you have 5-6 cars going into the same corner, there's only that much room, and there's going to be losers and winners. So he said, might as well go fully off and abuse the track limits. So yes, I think normally when you're racing and you get hit off and you go through that, it's a disadvantage. But if you bail early and use it as an advantage, because normally when you get it wrong and go, it's a very different route. But here he went straight and went a right and he cut. So that's a very different way of that is optimizing the cut instead of bailing out to the cut. So he did that, which because it was the start of the race and everyone weren't up to speed and he was faster. he gained 2 positions end of turn 3, which he rightfully gave back, and he stayed.
But he was not obliged to give them back, right?
He would have got the call.
Would he have? But I think that is still up for debate.
Yeah, it's an unfair advantage, right?
Yeah, but so apparently now this is what I have read and understood of the situation is that his grouse was that people are doing this and nobody is saying anything. So the response he got was that yes, because those incidents have to either be most likely be reported to the stewards. So if nobody is reporting those incidents, nobody is getting any penalties. So apparently his incident was reported, and that is why you're saying, like rightly you're saying that he would have gotten the call. So I am not so sure whether he was obliged to or whether he was kind of being forced to give it back. But he did find a loophole. He told everyone that there is this loophole. He's been having this discussion in a lot of pre-race briefs with the stewards and everyone. And then he exploited it for the world to see. Like, ye dekho, ye hai. But it is what it is. There's a question from the chat. This is going back to the power units. Do you think that there are too few free power unit changes allowed this year with only 3 and the number of crashes and a 22-23 season long race?
Yeah.
Sid, I'll go to you first. Sid.
मेरे को तो कुछ idea नहीं है.
Akhil?
I think there should be an exception if you've been involved in a crash, because unfortunately, like Max and Sergio in Hungary, it was unfortunate that the incident was so bad that it changes the unit, and that's not fair because that's not accounted for. But on a pure engine basis, I think you can manage. Other teams with low budgets have to manage. Teams who are fighting for the championship are just doubling down on their safety. But in an unfortunate circumstance, there should be some defined way. Otherwise, people will crash.
There is never any defined way, and people change the definition as per their convenience. We all know this about everything. Okay, let's
break the rules.
I think
bend the rules.
I think I have one point here. FIA on themselves have to take a call that even if incident happens, like the one that happened in Hungary between Verstappen and Hamilton, so if a penalty or a grid penalty should be given or not, and because I think they also, like, I think FIA has to step in, because it's because this season especially has been pretty tedious on the teams in terms of engine allotment. So going ahead, I think there are a lot of things that FIA has to kind of gear up with, because they have no idea what they're going to do with this sprint race. The whole late pit stop regulation has been a sham, and there are a lot of things that they need to get their shit together.
If you guys are just joining us, we're doing the weekly pre-race discussions that we've gotten quite used to, but we were away for the last couple of weeks. We're hopefully going to be more regular from now on.
Lost him?
Yeah, I think we lost him. Like I had a like what Dhaval was
7 race.
I think we lost him again.
Yeah.
So what Dhaval was trying to say is that we're going to be regular from now on. Just join the stream, like the stream, so that we have, like, the algorithm pushes it out on YouTube. So also follow us on Instagram. So I had one question, like specific question, like how does a driver deal with situation like when these people came out, these people did their I think pre-practice 2, it wasn't raining. Pre-practice 3, it was raining.
Yeah.
And again, qualifiers, it was not.
Yeah.
Decided on softs. So how does a driver kind of adjust? Because there's so much data you can have in such a situation.
Yeah.
So like it's like you need to have a specific driving line, even during the qualifiers. You need to have a specific driving line Like, if you're driving on softs or inters, you need to be on the drier part of the track.
Yeah.
So like, how does the driver deal with all of this? Like, I just want to.
So if you would have seen this particular weekend of FP1, FP2, FP3, I think it was very definite from all their forecasts that FP3 was going to be wet or Saturday was going to be wet. So normally FP3 is the one where you do quali simulation and go as fast as you can. So they reversed it. They made FP2 that quali simulation. So everyone were practicing how to go fast on low fuel and soft tires and everything. And FP1 was a more long run sim. And FP3 was, let's see what happens, because there's rain. It can be very wet, semi-wet. We don't know what it's going to be. So they left it as a joker. But they got most of the work done in FP1, FP2 for the race and for qualifying. FP3, it was very wet and then it dried out. So I think the teams wanted to, and the forecast was saying it was going to rain, not going to rain, going to remain. So most of the teams got out in the wet. Most of the teams got out when it dried up. So they got a feel for what the car is. I wanted to mention this, a very big, interesting fact is the track has become 14 seconds faster. So their end of the fastest time in FP3 is 2 seconds off FP1 full fuel tire run. They were doing 29s or 28s, say an average team, say whatever middle order team. And in FP3 on inters, they were doing 31s or 30s. So, and it's very surprising. And I think the inters times were almost a few seconds off pole time, I think, last year. So the track has become very, very fast, both at the dry and in the wet. So which has taken all the teams by surprise, because they have data. It's like almost a different category when you're 5-6 seconds faster, right? So that's why they keep joking and saying it's going to be a long night, because their sim drivers in the factories in the UK and wherever else are going to be up all night, recalibrating the sim to make it go faster and then trying out new setups. So when whatever they implement for the real car is calibrated perfectly. Others, they were calibrating a car for a track which is 7-8 seconds slower. So that was the biggest surprise for everyone.
Because I think the track it started raining during the end of Q1. Started raining a little. Then because they were not able to get in, the heat. The tire temperatures reduced, and it became really fast. Like, a lot of like last, if you go to see the last 5-10 seconds of Q1. A lot of them got good timing, and Ricardo lost out because of that, and
he didn't get
even Giovinazzi lost out because of that, because they had decent lap times, but the track got a lot more better, and people who had come out with inters, they put in a better lap time. So because there's so much of permutation and combination here, when you put the car out. Like, yesterday I they were live commentary, they were kind of saying that if Ricardo would have gone out late or Giovinazzi would have gone out a little late by 2.5 seconds, they would have been
he missed the last
they
lap.
Wouldn't have been in the they missed the last lap, and so there's so much, like, and that's the beauty of this sport, is that you only see the front end, you only see the cars racing, but there's so much going on in the back end that
And also another thing to mention was the temperature was very low. So at least in qualifying, FP3 the sun came out and all that, but FP3 the temperatures are very low, which means the track temperature is very low, and hence some of the guys struggle to bring temperature in. So the same debate on guys who have high downforce, low downforce. The guys with high downforce can obviously bring in more temperature because the car is pushing the tires into the ground. The guys with low downforce need another lap, and just the philosophy of some cars takes some more time. So some of the guys, if you noticed, they were locking up, going off the track because they just not able to get temperature in. So
So Mazepin saying his tires are dead when they were very visibly dead and torn apart is not a sight that is going to.
You guys know this weird rumor about Mazepin, and he is going to go for army training. mandatory Russian army training. I think in middle of this season in 2022. And that's like,
This middle of the next season.
yeah, sometimes like ऐसा एक महीने का रहता है उन लोग का ऐसे J1 type ऐसे.
Do it in the winter and finish.
Lots
Yeah,
of countries
like-
have this. No, even like in
Singapore.
football,
Yeah.
South Korea, there's this Son Heung-min. He was supposed to go, and he tried to get out of it and all. Say, this is fairly common in several countries.
I think Callum Millet might come. Maybe. I don't know. I'm throwing some names.
Yeah, I'm so happy
Still-
for Callum Island that he's
He's-
got
I
a
don't think Kubica
permanent
should be
seat in
given.
IndyCar.
No, man, but Kubica
but
now
Kubica-
should retire from even being the backup. He's so old.
Yeah.
But having said that, there's still one seat not decided for next year, and I don't know who's going to come in. But we'll talk about that later. Before I got cut off, sorry about being cut off, I was going to tell the viewers to hit like on that, like the button and help us with the
We
algorithm.
did that.
We did that. Amazing, Sid. Thank you. Okay, next up, there were some other highlights at the end of qualifying yesterday when Hamilton was told that he will not be credited the pole because he's been given a grid penalty. And at which point Bottas asked him, "Can I have that tire that you got for winning qualifying?" Sid, thoughts on Bottas's race this time? He's starting on pole. Verstappen is behind him. I am assuming Verstappen is going to overtake him before the first few turns are done.
I really feel that now that Bottas is in notice period, he can do a lot of things, and in notice period, a lot of things are supposed to be done. So he may just just break. He may just go first corner. He may just become very slow. He's like, "Arey, kya speed hai kya Honda ke kya car mein? I can't." Something of that sort. Like, just fuck with Hamilton. Like Hamilton बोलेगा कि यार निको रॉसबर्ग तो बोल के करता था, ये आदमी ने क्या किया, और just kind of or just win the race.
They won't let it happen.
Bottas,
They will not let it happen.
yeah,
You know
like
this.
Bottas,
They will not let it happen.
yeah, Bottas is a great driver, and
Bottas will hold up the
and-
field till Hamilton catches up, and then he'll have to let Hamilton go ahead. That's
But
how
did
it's
you-
going to work.
but did you guys see what Raikkonen, what was happening with that Alfa Romeo car? The
No,
water
what
was
is
giving
that?
oh my god, like Raikkonen lost it. He was like, what is
every
this?
time Finland
Fix
is
it. This is
water.
very basic. Yeah, because there's water near my leg. I was like,
Yeah.
what is happening with that car? ये गाड़ी है क्या है ये? What is this Celerio?
Oh, God, yeah.
तेरा सिलेरियो और ब्रेजा और सब यही चलेगा. दूसरा तीसरा कोई है विलियम्स को क्या बुलाएगा तू?
विलियम्स अच्छा है ब्रो अभी.
Williams
विलियम्स को
वो खाली
Williams को
जॉर्ज
मैं-
रसल, इट्स ओनली जॉर्ज रसल की वजह से अच्छा
Volkswagen
लगता
Vento.
है. वो अच्छा है नहीं. रसल
नहीं,
makes
but-
it look good.
but they have been working hard on their car. Do you agree, Akhil? Like
Yeah.
they have been working hard on their car. So
Because even Latifi is doing well recently. That's why.
yeah. So
I guess, but
another
you
way
know
of
their
seeing it.
competition is harsh, so there are several factors which
No,
make them
they're-
look a lot
they're-
better than they are.
No, they're trying to overtake Alpha, right? I mean, trying.
they have done. I think they are ahead of Alfa Romeo. They are ahead of Alfa Romeo.
Yeah? In the championship?
Yes.
No, the
Yes.
constructors. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So now Alfa Romeo water is leaking. I don't know what. The mirrors may go off. The helmet may go off. ऐसा जुवनाज रुका के helmet पहन रखा क्या? मतलब like what is happening with that car? So
वो गाड़ी बीच
Because-
में रुका के डायरेक्शंस पूछेगा, इधर से राइट मारो के लेफ्ट.
best meme I saw. I want to discuss this. I'm sorry, I'm breaking this. So best meme I saw is that Chinese driver goes to Alfa Romeo. Second is
On
like
YouTube,
this.
yeah.
The second they show is that the Romain Grosjean goes to IndyCar, goes
Yeah.
to Michael Andretti and convinces him to buy a Formula One car. They show that brain exploding in that. Because convincing your IndyCar boss, because Michael Andretti is in
Yeah.
talks
To buy a stake.
to buy a
Yeah.
stake, and his talks with has failed with Ginas. But if that happens, then we have a Romain Grosjean back. Oh my god, yeah. I mean, you don't know what.
Okay, so the starting grid for today is a fairly interesting one. There's obviously the usual suspect Max Verstappen in the front row. Bottas starting Q1, Leclerc starting P1, and Leclerc starting P3. He's got a good chance. Ferrari have been improving over the last few races, or rather throughout the season. They've just gotten better. So there's a good chance for Leclerc.
He got a good toe from Sainz also yesterday.
Yeah,
Right?
I saw that.
There's some chat going on about how Sainz was playing the team game yesterday.
Yeah.
So,
but that was clean because he's anyway out. So might as well.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And I mean, he did push Daniel Ricciardo out of Q3, so that was quite unnecessary.
That was the aim.
Huh?
That was the aim.
Yeah, that was the aim. I get it. But for us Ricciardo fans, that was a little mean. No?
But even also two unexpected people made it, right? Tsunoda and Mick Schumacher made that Q2 that much more difficult. Then Tsunoda made it to Q3, which made it which was a first in God knows how long. So that made it that much more difficult for Daniel, right?
Yeah.
So
there is.
I think overall AlphaTauri looked very good
Michael
in this track.
Andretti is said to have taken over Alfa Romeo.
And they're
will be signing
influencing
the
the
deal
second
next week.
seat.
Sorry.
Yeah, and they're influencing the second seat. So it's not a Frank Vesser's influence anymore.
Yeah,
because I feel very bad for someone like Oscar Piastri, who's been in the splendid talent, and even someone like Theo Pourchaire, and who's been a splendid talent in Formula 3, is doing really well in Formula 2. Guanyu is a very safe. He's like an SBI employee. I will come, I will get gratuity, I will get my point. But Oscar Piastri is someone who goes all out.
At some point, you just want one guy like that, who is not known for being great or who's not known for being exceptional. He's just known for showing up and doing the job.
I completely understand. But in Formula 1, you require someone who's aggressive with the car. So you require someone like a Liam Lawson or someone like Dan Tittum का तो career ही खत्म हो गया. पता नहीं भाई साहब Call of Duty के बीच में क्या बोल दिए लतीफी को. But you require someone
क्या बोला उसने?
कुछ तो अरे लतीफी को पू बुला. So हाँ भाई उसको Williams development program से निकाल दिया. And he's a great driver. Dan Tittum is a great talent.
Really? This is
the second time he got thrown out of a Formula 1 team.
Yeah, like
you can't be using what they're using on Call of Duty to kick them out of this.
No. It was a rhyming phrase.
Very.
Yeah.
It was a very rhyming phrase, and
it was pushing. It was putting one of the Williams drivers down, and it was da 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 da. You are. Yeah.
It was great. Like,
chat, if you guys know what the phrase was, please type it out.
Yes.
Read it.
Yeah.
Probably won't read it out, but.
अरे तो आपने वो कौन सा अपन पहले मैं साई सर्विस ड्राइवर्स प्रोग्राम में भी नहीं है मारुति का तो वो क्या रीड
नहीं कभी अगर okay, fair enough. So you saw how Akhil didn't say the phrase. No, he just said something, even though he probably knows it. So.
चैट में लिख दो आप लोग, हम लोग पढ़ के हम लोग खुद ही पढ़ लेंगे, अब बोलेंगे नहीं.
Arsho saying Dan will come because he has paisa. Yeah, he will probably come because he does have paisa. So, yeah. Okay, let's talk about today's race. We're not too far away from ending this live. Siddharth has to go, and so do we all. Okay, it's Scooby Dooby Doo. Latifi is poo. Okay, that's fine.
There you said it, Dhaval. Your chances of anything in Formula 3, Formula 2 don't tell me if Sai service people don't take you in their driver program.
There goes my Formula 1 career.
Latifi has a stake in Williams, right? Or he's the biggest sponsor. So you can't. It's like a boss. You can't.
Yeah, you can't just.
Was it at least in the context of Call of Duty, or was it in the context of his driving?
नहीं, just. अरे वो ऐसे ही बोला, मैंने वीडियो देखा.
Let's be honest, it's not Call of Duty skills we're talking about.
But were they playing together?
No.
They were not
It is
even
just-
playing together. Oh, he's just talking about someone who can't defend himself. That's not cool, man. Banter is fine,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
this is just unnecessary criticism, in my opinion, which should
I
never
saw
be
this video
tolerated. How
somewhere.
dare does someone criticize somebody else? That's just not allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we are
Digging back from his grave.
talking about Turkish Grand Prix, and thoughts on who is going to win this. There's strong. I'll leave it
Charlie
to you guys.
Leclerc.
Okay, interesting. Chat,
Yeah,
please tell us who you think is going to be the podium today. I'll read out the most interesting ones. Akhil, you're thinking it's going to be Leclerc.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think he has nothing to lose. He's going to take the maximum risk. That's it. He knows all he has to do is finish ahead of Lando. And if both the other teammates don't get points, then he's done his job for the weekend. I mean, if his other teammate and the Lando's teammate doesn't get points, he has to just be ahead of Lando. So you risk it and take it. No, probably Sainz is probably going to get points. There'll still be that 2-3 points difference. So, and let's be honest, if only Toto Wolff gave a signing off bonus saying, if Lewis wins Valtteri, you will get X millions. I don't think that's in the contract. So Valtteri is opening the door everywhere. So I don't know how much of a fight he.
One dealership of Mercedes in JB Nagar Chakala to Valtteri. He's coming and sitting there.
But saying that, I think Valtteri, I mean, it's unspoken, but he has a job to do, right? There's a reason why he had to be second and now he's pole. And either he has definitely, depending on the situation, if he wins the race and loses on the podium, very good. And if he backs up the grid or whatever. So in all this, if chances I'm not being part of this, I'm going to go and try to win the race. I have nothing to lose, and he interrupts everyone's program. Then because Sergio is also somewhere 8th or 9th. I don't think he has that much he can't do from there unless there's a safety car or something drastic. But it's also that Valtteri's pace was very good on FP1, his race pace. So if he gets a good start and nails it, he should be gone and very well set into the race. And then it becomes a Charles and Max fight.
Gasly not too far behind too, and he was having a great weekend so far.
Overall, AlphaTauri has adjusted to these conditions really well.
Yeah.
Like even in FP2, I think Gasly was leading. So I think Gasly is Ferrari has to worry about AlphaTauri being overtaken by AlphaTauri, and I think it is going to be Max.
I mean, AlphaTauri is only the third team after Red Bull and Mercedes to get into Q3.
Yeah.
So it's
both and
good.
that Tsunoda भी आ गया ना.
Yeah.
तो मैं क्या बोलता हूँ कि अगर सिर्फ Gasly आता था तो अपन समझता कि चल Gasly हमेशा आता है. This time even Tsunoda made it, so that they are the data that they have collected and something has gone right in their way. So इस बार ऐसा है कि वांदा नहीं. They will go all guns blazing because you never know, because I think it is
it's also a track he's not raced, Tsunoda. So it's he's done very well this weekend.
All of them are tracks he's probably not raced.
A couple of this year.
Yeah. So Arsha saying this race is going to be a little cold because FP1 the surface was a little hotter. So while this race may not be wet, the track temperatures may not be quite up there, and that will take some time to get there. So first few laps, we might see fewer overtakes, I'm guessing.
We have to see. I can't remember who qualified in Q2 on the softs. That will also play a role. Most of them were on the mediums. It's also the weather forecast has not been very accurate. So rain means no rain means rain. I don't know what.
Tell Lando Norris that.
Yeah, so if it starts raining somewhere in the middle, it's going to throw up things, and it's one of those things. If it rains mid-lap, it's very good for the guys in the second half of the grid, and they'll come and box and put the correct tires, and they get a half-lap advantage, right? So one of those weird situations might play out. And if anyone has been the king of luck is Lewis Hamilton. Always in the right place, right time, right situation.
I mean, Verstappen still finished P2 last race after starting
Yeah.
20th. So he's
Yeah,
also
that
got a
was
little bit of luck on his side, I would say.
lot of luck, I feel.
Only Tsunoda finished on, got quickest time on softs, is what chat seems to be saying. There's a question about Checo's underwhelming performance. I'm not sure if he's talking about just this weekend or generally the season, because I would not go as far as to say he's had an underwhelming season. It's just that maybe what Red Bull expected off of him was a projection of what he was doing based on his Racing Point days, because he was outperforming his Racing Point car. So they thought we'll put him in a better car, and he'll probably, live up to that. I guess maybe that's why you're feeling a little underwhelmed by his performance.
Because I just want to clear this out, because this was the first time that Checo has had problems. He was really good at Sauber when he started out with Sauber, and he was really bad when he went to McLaren. That Honda engine debacle that they had. So I think Checo was not comfortable with the Honda engine, because वो Renault, McLaren और Honda के time पे भी वो struggle किया, अभी भी वो struggle कर रहा है. So I think with Checo और Honda का थोड़ा ऐसे, because when he was racing for Sauber, he was really good. Like there were some really good races where I think you could see really flashes of brilliance when he was racing for Sauber. Rather than Racing Point had a good car, the pink Ferrari, but Sauber was not a midfield team. I mean, back in the pecking order, and और उसका तो McLaren में गया, वो McLaren में भी Honda में बहुत सफर किया. Was not doing really well.
No, it was a Mercedes engine back then with Jensen Button.
No. When Checo was there, they had that tie-up. They just lost the tie-up. And then those 1-2 years, they struggled a lot with Honda. It was.
Are you sure? This was...
Yes. This okay. I've specifically researched why it has been happening with him, because Checo was a great driver.
I thought he was in the last. He was the last year of the Mercedes McLaren.
This was the new, like the first year of Mercedes, had a complete new driver lineup, and he struggled a lot. Like it was.
Yeah.
So I think it is.
Yeah. Good. Sorry.
So it can be that the turbo hybrid era, Honda has a great engine, and Checo has a different role to play. He's been given a different role to play. That's why they signed him so soon. They signed him like so soon, 2-3 months back they signed him. So he's been doing what he's been told. So I feel they're just like Valtteri Bottas is just the state bank employee of Red Bull.
Just to add to that, see, it's also when you look at it, most teams, the championship, they leave it open for the drivers. Once you reach halfway, or then it becomes very clear which driver is going for the championship, right? And it becomes an unwritten rule that the other drivers tell. Now, when you compare Sergio with Bottas, 9 out of 10 times he will qualify in the top 3, right? And that's he's doing a brilliant job, and he's genuinely qualifying the top 3 because he's either half a second or some milli hundredths or 2/10 off Lewis. So if you compare number two driver at this stage of the season, then Valtteri looks like the best guy out there. If it would have been between Red Bull and Mercedes 1, 2, 3, 4 in the past races, then Checo's done his job. It's also I think there was a very sad fact that he's got 16 points in the last 6 races or 4 races or something, which is not where he should have got a lot more points. So
true.
It's also more than anything. The Christian Horner was joking in an interview that they asked him, which one do you want to win, the drivers or the constructors? He's like, well, constructors gives you more money, but the driver is the main fame. So even if they need him for both the constructors and the drivers championship. So unfortunately, Bottas he's there, he's clean, he's doing his job. sometimes, unfortunately, he's done his job too well in Hungary. But
Talking about a little fluff around the race, there's obviously the new livery that Red Bull is going to run, which was supposed to have been in Japan, but unfortunately the Japan race was replaced by Turkey. So they still went ahead with it. They were going to do the celebration of the Honda engine in Japan. But do you think this is a problem from the driver's perspective? The other driver's perspective, rather, because the ones sitting in the car, the Red Bull drivers are not going to feel the difference, but the others are seeing a white car now. And is it a problem? Does it affect them? Because it's all split-second decisions, and they're so used to seeing that bluish, blackish thing in the mirrors or in front of them. Akhil, do you think this affects them?
No, I mean, it's been 2 days. No, it's been
that's enough time to
2-3 hours of 2-3 hours of driving. You would have seen it here and there, pit lane. So some calibration you would have figured, you would have dealt with that color and all that. So I don't think it will be an issue. But the only thing it will be nice is Tsunoda stays in the top 10, and if something with some stroke of luck or something, he gets top 5. I think it will really tick off that new color and Japanese boxes and all that. Top 5 with the suppose it will be a Japanese Grand Prix. I think it's a very nice gesture to Honda and Japan.
Cherry on top of Monginis cake.
There's some very important news coming in that it is now a confirmed fact that Lewis Hamilton has given away his qualifying trophy, signed it and given it to Valtteri Bottas. And Bottas has put it up on his Instagram stories. So there's some good stuff.
I want to say something. Bottas' Instagram game is next level now.
Fire.
It's just gone up. His reels, his TikToks, oh my god. I'm genuinely laughing at all the stuff he's putting out there, and he making his own memes with those engines and all that. I mean, no one is doing that in Formula 1.
Bottas has understood that now Alfa Romeo, it is not the car. It is
now a meme season.
He's like brand work करने का भाई अपने को भी the man company वाला approach करना चाहिए.
Okay, so we're going to end it with predictions. Akhil has already said that he's predicting a Leclerc win. P2 and P3, I'm guessing Verstappen figures somewhere in there.
Yeah, and Hamilton, So I don't know. It's either 1 or 2, 3. It's between Hamilton and Verstappen.
Oh, you're saying Hamilton is going to get to the top 3 and not win it. I don't. Then I'm not. I'm not with you, because if Hamilton is breaking into the top 3, he's going for P1.
Yeah, but if there's Verstappen and Charles in front, why will any of them do it? Give him break, or let him pass.
I guess. Sid, what do you think? Kaun jeetega?
I think P1 Verstappen, P2 Bottas, and P3 Gasly.
Where Hamilton?
You said you said Hamilton, Bottas, and Gasly.
No.
Verstappen, Bottas, and Gasly.
Bottas and Gasly.
Leclerc versus Gasly is going to be as fun as anything. Gasly might probably take it. You're right. I think Hamilton is going to he's going to take it. He's going to do some weird voodoo and just take it. And
just fly his car engine more.
He's got a new internal combustion engine. No. Yeah. It just burns through the field. And Verstappen's going to finish P2. No, Verstappen is not going to finish in the top 3, according to me, because that's the only way that Hamilton is going to get there.
He's starting second, but won't finish in the top 3.
Something is going to happen. Something is going to go down in this race. It has been happening for the last, I don't know how, this whole season has been like that. I think last race was the most gripping race of the season for a lot of people. It's going to be Hamilton, Leclerc, and a wild card Alonso. No, Alonso won't do it. No, it's going to be Gasly. Gasly is going to get into the top 3.
Gasly.
Yeah, Alonso is going to fall behind, even though he's starting 5th or 6th, I think. Swastik Gandhi, yes, we changed the live stream time today to 2 p.m. Normally, we come to you an hour before the race, but yeah, we changed it today. But I think we're going to figure out our suitable times over the next couple of weeks, but it's going to be usually an hour before the race. This was a special event. So yeah, anything else, guys? Closing thoughts? Sid, before we go, any announcements to make?
Nothing.
Arsha
as
saying
such.
he sees Hamilton crashing. Well, I think you should crash. It's pretty late where you are, man. Akhil, final thoughts?
I think nothing, but on a different topic, our fellow Indian has got a second place, Arjun Maini.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
P2
that's
yesterday.
great.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So,
That's first
he had a tough
DTM
season
win.
if you've been following him. Unfortunately, even the last round in Hockenheim, first race, he had you would have seen it, you would have seen what happened and all that. Tough. He's been up there pace-wise. And I think this should have happened a long time ago. But happy he finally got it in the last round.
So happy for him.
There was also, while we were away, even Jehan finished on the podium.
Okay.
So there's some why this is all happened while we were away. So if we're recapping, we might as well also talk about that. So yeah, and yeah, so that'll be all from us. Thank you so much everyone for joining us. Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you, Akhil. It's been a pleasure as always, and thank you to everyone in the chat, especially our mods. Shrishti, thank you so much, and Arsho, thank you for putting in your petition to be a probable future mod. If you continue like this, you will get it. Yeah, there is some unconfirmed news about a certain McLaren driver having to take a certain kind of penalty, but I am not going to use any particulars or names because it is unconfirmed news. On that note, we will be back this week with a cricket stream also. It will probably just be me and a guest because Akash is not here for the rest of the month. And yeah, see you guys then. Thank you, everyone. And bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.